I need to make some adumbration, just like lawyers used to do in court. And I thank God that immediately after the purported caretaker chairperson made the allegation against Vice Julius Agure, we are now confronted, with issues in Nigeria, which I'm going to quote from Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965, I think September 8th, after the Bloody Sunday, when he said, "Our lives begin to end the day we choose to be silent until that matters." It's quite unfortunate that we are having this crisis in the Labour Party now. And before Nigerians, everything I'm going to say here, I think we need to purge ourselves before Nigerians what actually led, to this crisis. It's more than what Nigerians have seen, and that is why I am happy I came with document that people know to me very well. This is the notice of appeal of the Nigerian, and this is the judgment of the court, the one Governor Alessoti was also talking about. This is the certified copy. We did just pick it from the dustbin. But you see, Nigerians, our crisis actually emanated from our issue in 2023 general election. But there's something that we did. I am coming out now, in as much as Nigerians will have the audacity to accuse the chairman of embezzlement. I am going to set the part here, even by Oshutokun. He was on this channel regarding why we failed presidential election. On ariseTV, he said, peterobi was not in a position to pay all the FB obedient agents during 2023 election. Peterobi never had the money to do so, and thus they had to narrow it down to where they can pay and drop agents in several thousand polling units where they cannot pay. He concluded, we have a situation where many obedient and people that perform the role of agent, polling agents, were not eliminated. It was just their initiative to do so in most parts of the country, a part that we couldn't pay many agents. Now, why did he say they were not eliminated? You see, I am going to lay back and to ask for forgiveness of Nigeria because we actually misled Nigerians over why we failed the election. But why we failed is what I came out here. In my car, I have the CTC of all the judgment of the Court of Appeal, that is the Court of First Instance regarding our election petition, and also the Supreme Court. I made it to say that 3 people were responsible for why we lost the election, and therefore, after this, I will be making an open apology to the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Which election are you discussing?
Is that?
Which election? The 3 people?
Yeah, the 2023. That was where, they model something to deceive Nigeria. I am also part and parcel, but we have to purge ourselves of this part, and I'm happy it's going to be on the rise. That's why I say I came with that part of what transpired. It is not in another issue. It was what I want to say here that actually causes that problem. Now, in the 2023 election, you see, we were unable to fill agents in 54,000 polling units out of 189. We were unable to fill agents. When Mr. Peterobi came, he took over the party machinery and handed over to Aisha Yusufu and Pastor Itwai Gadalo, and the man that absconded now, Valentine Osibu and Oseloka, is SNG. Those were the people that managed the upload. Now, in 189 polling units, 89,000, Labour Party failed to account for 54,000. That was why he said we were unable to enumerate, some agents. That is actually spoken here on this channel. I knew you were Dr. Bati and my friend, Rudy Fire, that did that interview. What now transpired is that we failed woefully in 54,000 polling units. We do not have a result to go to the election petition tribunal. In that way, those ones that are there, he said they were unable to pay them. They used a lot of the obedience to be the party agent. Because they were unable to pay them 10,000, they absconded with that result. And in line with paragraph 4, 5, and 6 of the first schedule of the Electoral Act, petitions must be filed within 21 days, and your written statement of your witness on oath, your formisio aids, everything you have to attach it to your petition within 21 days.
Enough of what Mr. Arabambi has to say there, guys. Welcome to If You Ask Jimmy. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please help me to subscribe, support my channel, and take this channel to the next level so that we can bring you more information of what's going on in Nigeria. Just click that subscribe button. 5 seconds? No, 1 second is enough. Yeah. Can you see subscribe? Click it. Thank you. Let's get to this one. 2023 election was not rigged. Labour Party failed to field polling agents in 54,000 units. That's according to Arabambi, who happens to be Labour Party's National Publicity Secretary. And this is coming from no other source than arisetvnews, Arise TV. And if you know what Arise stands for, especially in the Nigerian space, you will understand that this is a party that has stood by peterobi and what is considered to be the truth or the fact of the 2023 elections. And this particular TV station has been very supportive and very much in the forefront of giving their platforms to the Labour Party and the obedient movement to be able to express themselves concerning their doubts about 2023 elections. Let me read from what Arise TV captured from what Arabambi said. Arise TV says this: during the 2023 elections, out of 189,000 polling agents, out of 189,000 polling units, agents were not able to field. Okay, I don't know how this one is convoluted here. Let me just read how they put it there. During the 2023 elections, out of 189,000 polling agents, we were not able to field in 54,000 polling units. 4 people were responsible for why the Labour Party lost the election and failed woefully during the tribunal, as we did not have agents at the polls. Peterobi tried to cover this issue up during the tribunal, and this caused a divide between him and the Abure-led NWC. This is according to Arabambi, the guy that I showed you the audio, played the audio at the beginning of this particular video. Now, the point is that I'm reading from Arise TV verbatim. Why? Because everybody knows Arise, and I've already mentioned a little bit about it. There are also other media houses in Nigeria like Channels TV and like TVC and like other TV and radio stations. And you know how the press in Nigeria is kind of structured, and how, you know, there are pro and against, there are for and against, and there are some political patronages, there are some sentiments. And if you want to hear some news, the truth of it, maybe you will go to some channels different from other channels. But this one, coming from Arise TV, one will say Arise is very, very, very extremely objective here, because it appears to be a platform that has a sentiment for Peterobi and the Labour Party. Unfortunately, Arise TV, that has been supporting and making their platform available to give Obi and His Excellency Mr. Peterobi and the Obedience and the Labour Party a voice, is now being vilified by people online just because of this one single incident. Now, this particular interview shows the objectivity of that channel, and you can never satisfy everybody, right? This man, Arabambi, the National Publicity Secretary of the NLC, made damning confessions here. Damning confessions. But this is the first reaction of Obedience, somebody who calls himself preacher. He said, open letter. There are 2 reactions here. People who believe this guy and people who think that he's a sellout. Now, open letter to Abayomi Arabambi. that history will not be rewritten. Somebody says, that's preacher, that is Trend Future NG on X. He says, your performance, dear Arabambi Femi, your performance on Arise TV claiming to confess the sins of NG Labour and seek forgiveness is nothing but a desperate ploy to whitewash your role in Nigerian political stage. Everyone knows about your relationship with Akwa Abiodun and how you were planted in NG Labour as a mole, not to build but to break from within. So, the long shadow of that's number 3 of 2023 presidential elections stolen in broad daylight by Bola Ahmed Tinubu official but still hangs over this nation. Is that same shadow that empowers useful ID.IOTS like you to attempt rewriting history with fiction and spin? Now, there's a lot of things that this person wrote. You can check this out on the post by Arise News under this particular post. Arise News, 2023 election was not rigged. Labour Party failed to field polling agents. So you can read it up there, right under the comments of Arise News post, this video. Adetuji Adewolu says, so Labour Party went into a gunfight with banana peels. No agents in 54,000 polling units, and we've been shouting, we were robbed. Laughter emoji. Plot twist of the decade. Ayodomi Ikakuni Stone says, Arabambi talking about 54,000 missing polling agents like it wasn't part of the disappearing act. If Labour failed, it's because political termites inside the party sold their loyalty for peanuts. Obi carried a broken structure further than most could drag a solid one. Blame your betrayal, not his integrity. He's talking to Arabambi there. Chisholm, I am _Polymar says, Arise TV is a captured TV station. Don't waste your time with these people. They are an untrustworthy fourth arm of your oppressive rulers. Suddenly, just take a look at these useless ladies disguising as journalists as they sell their souls listening to a smelling packed out discuss irrelevant topics. Someone says, is that Arise that should rise has fallen. Bringing inconsequential people to spew trash on national TV is insane. Ejiro Yade says, media houses carry contracts to interview this one that has no ability to change out situation in the country. People are dying. Inflation is high. Inflation is high. Those ones, no, some of these things can be, Someone say, may God PUNISH all of you interviewing this tout. So is new shot now. Peter Obi came to the party. Did he know what a camera looked like? Ugo Will says, Arise TV is part of Nigerians' problem. Wonderful. Tweet Zappa says, self-sabotage for crumbs and applauses for his paymasters. He will learn. CJ at IJECO says, yeah, those are the IDOTS sponsored by APC and Akpabio them. That's why he wants PO to waste his time fixing a dead useless party. PO is smarter than you fools. It's a matter of time before he dumped this dead party. David Brand, MD, says, Arise TV truly fell off. They repeatedly platform urchins. Someone says, what this man, that is Nze Maddox, what is this man talking about? When you hear someone who has lost his mind talk, you will have headache trying to understand him. All right. Brown says, you mumu Igbo. No, I'm not going to read this one. No. Let me not read the first part. It says, obedience never learn. He called some tribal things initially, but I'm not going to do that. But it says, dash that OBIDIOTS never learn. And now why Obigo still lose in 2027? If Helpy had party agents all over the riverine areas in River States, Wike wouldn't have been able to change the results, but there were no LP agents to follow up. So some people are believing, some people are not believing, and some people think that it might not even be an agent thing. Rush says, funny how in a lot of polling units, LB, Labour Party, truly didn't have agent. A lot of people did it willingly, cause of the love of PO or because they didn't want this present administration. Only hypocritical people will say he is lying. So there's someone like an Obi, Obi enthusiast here saying that it might be true, but people actually volunteered. They did work for the party willingly. And that time it was the slogan, we know they give shishi, and they did not give shishi, and maybe some of those funds starved some of the logistics of the election. Guys, if you are here to subscribe, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, and thank you for your subscription. So I've been reading this pure post from Arise TV on X, formerly known as Twitter. We cannot exhaust all the what is it called now? We can't exhaust all the comments, but you know what this guy is saying is just like enemy within, because people are saying they know this guy, they know his antecedent with Dapo Abiodun. He is calling out one Ozigbo, is calling out one candidate in APC who in Labour Party, one person in Labour Party was very close to Peter Obi, and who was in the hierarchy, one of the number 1 to 4 of Labour Party, who jumped ship to APC and contested in the recent primaries for the election in Anambra State. He mentioned Aisha Jesufu, he mentioned Itua Igodalo, he mentioned Professor Akin Oshitokun, who said this thing before he said it. This same statement is coming to me, but it didn't generate any heated argument then or hula baloo, because Oshitokun did not categorically say that was why, he didn't put it blatantly like this guy put it. You see, the point is that election is actually the way to get to power, and a lot of people are rooting for Peter Obi. I did a video on the alignment when this guy came out. What is his name now? El-Rufai. And I was saying, and then the movement, the body movements, and the body language of Atiku, of Obi, all of them meeting together. And I said something that Peter Obi has the single largest chance, biggest chance and honor to actually, have had the most organic organization, the obedience, since the independence, since the first republic. After the Azikiwes of this world, the Ahmadu Bello and the Awolowos that had their parties like Action Group and like NCNC and like all other parties formed organically when people funded the party. This is the first time. Maybe 1979 people still put some of their funds, but after 1979 Second Republic, let's say from the Third Republic, Peter Obi has been the person that has galvanized the most organic mass movements in elections. And I was saying that borrowing platforms, see Labour Party now, people whitewash Labour because it is the special purpose vehicle, SPV, that Peter Obi leveraged for the last election, and it became like a saint party. That party has always been used as a spare tire. It has been used by opportunists, by people who just wanted, because if they don't get tickets in APC, they don't get in PDP, they don't get in SDP, they come to Labour Party. People have done that in the past. And, it was just a very available tool for Peter Obi to use. But what I was saying is that elections are not served, power is not served a la carte. With the power of obedient movement, if obedient have a party of their own, for example, I was saying that all this party thing, all this alignment, all this, whether it is merger, whether it is coalition, whether it is whatever they are doing, thought first, is going to be about negotiation. And Peter Obi may not have that negotiating power. For example, in PDP, he had been in PDP, he had left. He had been in APGA, he had left. Now, look at the SDP, for example. Atiku still wants to contest. People feel that El-Rufai is just a front that went ahead to try to coalesce people for Atiku's ambition, a lot of things. Mind you, anywhere Peter Obi is going, they are going to sit at the table. This is Peter Obi that Obedient believe in so much that he is different and he has an agenda that can save Nigeria. But he still has to mingle any party he goes with people that drowned Nigeria. And the people that when they put their terms and conditions on the table, it might not be what the Obedient expects. By the time Peter Obi goes in and comes out of that meeting, Obedience will not recognize him again. Not because of the man himself, not because he's weak. People have to understand politics here. People are shouting Trump, Trump, Trump. Nobody gave him a chance to become president the second time based on the perception and the sentiments against his first time. But do you know when Trump had been contesting, how he had been even in the party that the opposition before? He wasn't always a Republican member. He had been in other parties before. This man has been long ambitious. He has had an ambition that has been long standing. But he waited for his time, and when he saw the opportunity, he plugged in. Peter Obi now is still, he's in his 60s, but when you compare his age to Asiwaju and Atiku, it stands a very fantastic chance, which is one of the reasons why Obedient galvanized around him. But to say the truth, if it is the vehicles of the parties that have been existing in Nigeria that Obi is going to leverage, it's still going to be a big problem. Look at now. One thing I said in that video is that, Obi, the Obedient did something fantastic, very, very brilliant. The Obedient movement continued to support labor, but they did not allow their identity as a movement to get drowned in Labour Party. They always try at every opportunity to distinguish the Obedient from the Labour, but for the purpose of the election, Obedient rode on that party because there's no independent candidacy. You see why the powers that be in Nigeria, they are not allowing independent candidacy. Because trust me, if it were possible for Nigeria to have independent candidacy, it's going to be a very, very easy ride for Peter Obi because people are going to galvanize around him more, just like there is this movement of Obedient, and he can actually have a better chance of doing what? Of emerging as the candidate. As an independent candidate. He doesn't need to have the burden. You see, political parties can be very, very complex. Politics is about interest. Politics is about negotiation. Politics is about give and take. Politics is like you are selling something and you are buying something. They are buying power, and power is money, and money is very important. And that's why all this issue and all this talk about about not having agents in some of those polling units, all these things may not be just logistic issue. It might be fund, but looking at the amount of money, the kind of fund that was generated by the lovers of Peter Obi and those who want Peter Obi to actually to carry the day, you will not think that fund could be a problem. Whether it's fund, whether it's logistics, the important thing is that the Obedient movement have to be very futuristic. It is not easy to fight power from incumbents, not just incumbent of Tinubu, even incumbent of the Buhari at that time. So the important thing is that Obedient movement has to take it a notch higher. They already have a very critical mass. It's going to be confusing. NSC will rise up today. They will say they are taking the party back. All of those things are what? They are just total distraction from the goals, the ambition of the Obedient movement. Obedient movement has the chance. They have just little mobilization to do for them to get their acts together in order for them to be able to wrestle power and not leave Peter Obi vulnerable by having to go to other politicians of the old order and, dining and whining and negotiating power with them. Meanwhile, that may be the short-term way out of this, right? It might be short-term because, it is not easy to form a party and then make that party to be election ready in less than 2 year cycle. Even APC to wrestle power from Jonathan started as far back as 2012, before the 2015 election. And you can see they had some decamping from some parties. There was a lot that went under. This kind of Arabambi character people believe that he was a mole all along. But the important thing is that he is now saying things that he said he was privy to. Because those ladies asked an intelligent question. They asked him straightforward question. Why are you just saying this now? Why have you not said all of this all along? Why now? And well, does it matter when he says it? And what he's saying, is it the truth? Or if it's not the truth, is it the semblance of truth? And what is the purpose for saying this right now? And if people are rooting for truth, what he said, it can be damaging to the Labour Party, because it is believed that as an inside person, being a national executive of the party, people want to take his word to the bank. And the enemies of the party are now weaponizing it against the party. Long and short of the story is this. He says he wants Labour to ask, on behalf of Labour, he wants to ask for Nigerians forgiveness for misleading Nigerians, why they failed, that election. But the point is this. Where does this guy go from here? Now, he seems to be on the side of Abure. And the issue of Labour has been so messy already. You hear about, them suspending OT. You hear about, the Supreme Court judgment recently. They are not even sure who owns the power. And you can see even Okonkwo, the guy that was very, very vocal for the party, he left the party. And he started saying some damning things about the party. You see, there is no perfect organization anywhere. And if some of these things, people are saying some things, members of, lovers of peterobi should not take it personal. There is no clean party. As long as it is politics, a lot of things go under. And maybe some of these things are being internally managed. There is no party that doesn't have their own secrets. Even associations, organizations have their secrets. But for someone who was an insider to come and watch the dirty linen of the party in public, the party is polarized. The party is fractured. The party it doesn't look like a party that can carry Peter Obi to the next election. And you can see a lot of opportunists who jumped on the Labour Party ticket just because they saw value in opportunity in the Peter Obi ticket. A lot of them won election. Where are they now? Some of them have decamped. Some of them have renounced the party. Some of them are floating. And some of them, they just got the ticket. And are they even carrying out the ideas of Labour Party? Are they doing what Labour Party said it was going to do? Are they unique? Are they different? Labour is not Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not Labour. And Obedient have been very clear about that. Obedient have an assignment. The passion, the love, the interest, the kind of solidarity they are giving to Peter Obi, there has to be some strategy. There has to be some tact around it. You don't build a house from roof down. Look at what even NLC can't take Peter Obi IC for that party. Everybody is just trying to, everybody is after their own. Everybody have their own interest. And politics is a game of interest. You can't beat that. To assume that Labour Party will be scratchless, Labour Party will be faultless, and Labour Party will just be so saintly like Saint Peter Obi himself. It is not going to be, because it's a political party. It is a political party. It is a political party. I say that 3 times for emphasis. The only political party that will be able to dance to the tune of Peter Obi, that will be able to carry the manifesto of Peter Obi, that will be able to go scratchless and spotless and be able to have the identity and the veracity, that will be able to have that bite and punch, that will be able to have the kind of traction that will give velocity and mileage to the Peter Obi agenda and the Peter Obi manifesto. It is an organically formed party by that the crux of it, the core, will be the Obedient. And how is that going to help His Excellency Peter Obi? Is going to be because they will be in charge of their own affairs. They know who they are. They know their own people. It's just like that scripture that says, I know my people and my people know me. They know Peter Obi. Peter Obi know them. And they are so loyal. They are so committed. And they will be faithful to Peter Obi and the party. No matter the imperfection of that human organization that we evolve, it will still be within manageable control of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Let us not fool ourselves. Power is not served a la carte. And see, that is why all these alignments and realignments. Look at what happened during the last election. If Peter Obi was on the ticket that, Kwankwaso and Atiku was, and either any of them had contested for that election, they would have beaten APC hands down. Towards the end of it, they were looking at having an alliance with, what is this one now, of Kwankwaso. All right? It didn't happen. It didn't happen because of the statuses of those people. Kwankwaso was a former governor. Peter Obi Kwankwaso is a former governor. Peter Obi is a former governor. Not only that, Kwankwaso have been in this game for long, having this Kwankwasian movement together. And Peter Obi just, came out. He was the vice presidential candidate to Atiku before, but he came out to stand alone because people were rooting and yearning for him. And don't forget, people are saying that election was rigged. If that election was rigged, let's put that aside. Do you realize that it was just less than a calendar year to the election that Peter Obi left the ticket of the PDP where he was supposed to be a VP candidate to Atiku? All of those last minute things, the man galvanized, the man has goodwill, he enjoys solidarity, he enjoys a lot of support, but some things don't happen overnight. It takes time. He moved all around the country, but some interests have already been settled. Obedience need to have that that uniformity of purpose, and they need to have the vision. There are so many intellectuals. As of today, the crop of the youngest people, this critical mass of the Nigerian youngest people, the best talents, the best brains so far, are the ones that make up the obedience. There has to be strategy. Wishes are not horses. There has to be strategy. If you are not seeing a problem with the party structure right now and how Peter Obi, how he's going to emerge with this current confusion called parties in Nigeria, then you are not seeing anything. If you see the problem for what it is, it's not going to be a day job. I said he's the youngest. This election cycle will come and go. Hopefully, he's able to grab a ticket that will give him. If he doesn't grab that ticket and make it about him right now, he's going to be able to grab a ticket, definitely. But the outcome, we wait till 2027 to see. But no matter what, whether it's going to, I don't know if there's enough time right now to form a new party. Mind you, people will willingly leave some other parties and identify with his party if he actually does that. Every party has a face to it. He is going to be a visitor. He's going to be having a weaker negotiating power in every other party. But if he's able to build this party, maybe this election cycle, maybe the next, it is so, the atmosphere is so charged for him. But what can be done between now and 2027? 2 years and some days. I leave that to the imagination. I leave that to all the lovers of Peter Obi to figure out. It's not impossible to still win for him 2027, but not with this character. Abure will say this today, Apata will say that tomorrow, Arabambi will say another one. There's one lady that was called out the other time, that came out to call out the national. Oh, it's just a total mess. And then the chairman of NLC will come out, Dr. Oti will come out, another person will come out. No. I'm sure that's not what obedience want. Arabambi has come to say this thing is very damning, it's very damaging, and on no other platform than Arise News, and people are losing interest in Arise as a station just on this one alone because it hits hard, it hits the Obi movement below the belt, and it's a shock that it's just like a 360 for Arise that has been a channel that has Obi sentiments, very strongly in favor of His Excellency Peter Obi. Guys, have said a lot here, but summary is that Mr. Peter Obi has a very good chance in Nigerian politics, but the party process and the party structure or the party entity to launch his ticket and his ambition is the greatest. It is the most critical. Is the most critical link to his ascension to that presidency. And I hope he finds it. Thank you guys for watching. Have you subscribed? Please, yeah, just 1 second. Click that subscribe button, like this video, and click the notification bell so that you will receive you'll be able to get notification for my video every time I upload. Thank you, and see you on the next one. Bye.